Hi, today I want to talk about what will interest rates do in 2021. We've been asked this a couple times. I really want to hone in on two key pieces. We've been asked, do you think interest rates will rise in 2021? And ultimately, we do not believe they will. This is based off of two key pieces, like I said. The first being in 2020, when the Fed slashed the interest rate down to zero. They also adopted a new policy that basically said that unless inflation hits a certain level, they will not raise the interest rate. And inflation is not projected to hit that level at all this year. So that's the first reason. The second reason is that by slashing the rate like they did last year, it allowed so many buyers to be able to come into the market and purchase. Between that and the stimulus checks and some of the additional aid that was dispersed, it really allowed the real estate market to boom. And we saw a boom in the market that was just unprecedented in years past. So it did what it was supposed to do. That being said, if they raise the rate, that will then allow for a contraction and we will not be able to sustain that real estate boom that we've been having. So based on both reasons, it is not projected that we will have a rise in rates in 2021. It's also important to know that the federal rate, the Federal Reserve rate, is very different than the private banks and their rates. Just because the Federal Reserve slashes their rate to zero doesn't mean that all of the local banks and the national banks now have to give loans at 0%. It just is a driver for the range that those banks will likely be in for interest. So prior to the Federal Reserve slashing the rate to zero, most banks were at 4.5%, 4% interest rate. After that slash to zero, they came down to like 2.5% interest. So it doesn't mean just because the Federal Reserve rate is one number, that doesn't mean that all the banks will be the same. It just means that it's a driver for the range that they will fall in. I hope that helped. I hope that provided more clarity as to why and what we see happening with interest rates in 2021. It's ultimately going to be a good thing for the real estate market and a good thing for buyers and sellers. Let me know if you have any questions. We're here to help.